Welcome to Evening Tea, a slow after bedtime space for women who are exploring motherhood differently. Here we talk about the things you whisper about with your closest friends, the tender, the intuitive, and sometimes controversial. From pregnancy, home birth to postpartum healing, vaccines, natural health, motherhood, parenting, identity, and everything in between. Nothing is off the table here. So pour yourself a cup of tea. Take a deep breath and settle in. I'm Kaya, and this is the conversation that you've been craving. Welcome back to Evening Tea. Tonight's conversation is one that I've been sitting with for a while, mostly because it's not easy to explain. And honestly, it's not something that I fully understand either. I'm really glad to be having this conversation with Fruma Weiss. Fruma works with emotion code and body code, and she's someone that I wanted to bring into this space, not to convince anyone of anything, but just to talk honestly about what this work can look like, especially for pregnant and postpartum moms and their children. Emotion code entered my life kind of through desperation. I was 15 and I was in intense abdominal pain. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't stand up straight. I was literally bent over in half and I ended up in the hospital. They ran tests, scans, ultrasounds. They thought my appendix had burst. Nothing showed up. Literally, they had no reason for why I was in this much pain. Um, while I was there, my grandmother, who does body work as well, called my mom and asked if they had checked my pancreas because she believed that there was inflammation there and that she cleared it through the body code. And the hospital couldn't find anything. They looked at my pancreas. They were like, there's nothing there. And literally, I want to say within an hour or two, the pain was gone. I went home. They had no explanation for what the pain was, where it came from, or why it went away. But my grandmother had done body code and cleared whatever was there. And like literally it went away within the next few hours. It was crazy. At the time, I was very kind of like torn between whether I believed in this type of work or not. It was something that people in my family believed in, but I hadn't seen tangible results before this. And I remember talking to Hashem and being like, if this is real, and if this is a real way that healing can happen, then I'm open to it. And since then, Emotion Code hasn't given me the answers to everything. It hasn't made life specifically smooth or make hard emotions disappear, but it's given me an ease of feeling and letting myself feel emotions deeply. And when I'm feeling off or when I'm not showing up as myself or I'm reacting differently than I usually do, I turn to emotion code or body work to figure out what's going on underneath. This is why I wanted to have this conversation with Froma, not to present this work as a solution or as a belief system, but to talk about it as an option, something some women turn to when big feelings don't go away. And you don't need to believe in anything to listen. You don't need to take anything from this. My hope is simply that by the end of this conversation, you feel more informed, a little less alone, and reminded that there's many ways that support can look. And Froma, thank you so much for being here. I would love to start with how this work entered your life, if you're willing to share.
Sure. It was also in high school. I was, I think, 16 years old. Nothing like specifically was going on that was like, like so huge or like I was like struggling or anything like that. It was really, I was a teenager and you know, I had hard feelings, like big feelings, and definitely like my past plays a role in it. My parents are divorced, and that obviously has a big impact on me. And definite like I definitely had big feelings from that. Still it happened many years earlier, but I went to therapy for many years, but it definitely was. It's something that always impacts you. Is for life. That's your situation. So yeah, and I came across it and it really clicked. I was like, wow, this is something I that can really just, I think, put pieces together for me that I'm like, going through. I also was there was something like just other some things physically that I was having a hard time with, just like physical like issues, I guess, that like I just kind of accepted as part of life, different discomforts, different pains and when I came across this I was like, "Oh, maybe that's not the case." And I was right. It really did help with some big, some small things and I was like, "Wow, this is amazing that I don't have to live with these kind of just like day-to-day things that are bothering me, you know?"
Yeah. I'm curious if you felt certain about emotion code then, or if you were still like unsure about it.
I actually was very certain, surprisingly. I feel like um yeah, I was. I I learned about how it works. I read up about it and it made sense to me that energy makes up everything and we can have energy in our body that isn't processed and is stuck and that we can release that and that it can be causing physical pain or emotional stress. It made sense.
Yeah, that's incredible that you had so much clarity surrounding it. I know that one thing I hear a lot is that this type of work feels hard to trust. So I kind of want to hear from you. How can someone understand this in like very simple terms? Like, what does clearing trapped emotions actually look like and actually do for the body?
Very good question. So, how it works is everything is made up of energy. Science has come to see that also. um, and every just like everything around in the world is made up of energy, so are things in your body, your thoughts and your emotions included. And when the when you have a thought or emotion, which is really a vibration of energy being produced and flowing in your body, it cannot leave until it's processed, which in short means recognized, validated, seen, heard, any of those kind of anything in that category. And when it doesn't process, it's stuck. It gets trapped and it's gonna be there until it's processed. And emotion code is one way, emotion code and body code is one way, not the only way, one way that you can get that out of your system.
Yeah, I love that. Do you think that it matters for someone to believe in it for it to work, or it could work on anyone?
Both. It matters and it can work on anyone because just like anything in life, belief belief is a real thing. I mean, we have that entire we believe. We're believers, sons of believers, right? It's a real thing. Um, you know, when you wake up and you believe that you're going to have a good day, it's much more likely you're going to have a good day. So, just on a very simple, basic level. So, yeah, it definitely makes a difference. It definitely helps with being open to it and being like fully in it. Just being fully involved. Um, but it doesn't mean you can't do it if you don't believe in it, because at the end of the day, someone coming to me who tells me, and this has happened, that like, I'm willing to try it out, but I don't really get it, and I'm kind of skeptical or whatever, or I'm just like I don't really get it. I don't really know what this is, but I'm like I'm willing to try. That's that's fine. I say, okay, that's totally fine. Let's start and see what happens, and the release will happen. It will happen, but it may be harder. Sometimes it may be harder for me as like the person releasing the practitioner to access as much information or for there to be more of a flow, we work with that. That's it's totally fine, and we go with whatever pace we need to go with, and and I've Baruch Hashem had people come to me uncertain and seen results. So yeah, Baruch Hashem.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's incredible.
yeah,
Wow. Yeah. Baruch Hashem. Um, I'm curious in your experience, is there anything that this type of work genuinely doesn't help with?
yeah, definitely. So I would say for starters, it's not gonna replace any, real physical intervention that you need. Like if someone broke their bone, they still need a cast. It's I can't don't come to me with a broken bone and ask and hope that I'll be able to just get help that. Now, I will say that and that's not just broken bones. I'm saying that's like a very basic example, but yeah, like there's definitely times when physical intervention is needed, like if someone needs medical support, if someone needs to see a doctor, if someone needs, even just constant steady support like what therapy offers, if someone needs any other support that is more like tangible, that's not what yeah, I can't do that. And I don't emotional and body code can't diagnose. So those are definitely things that can't help with. I will say though that what is interesting is that even with things that need, very just physical intervention, like a broken bone or I don't know, some sort of if someone needs some sort of medicinal help or any sort of even, I don't know, a surgery, like literally anything, they can come like do emotion code and body code to help release anything that's blocking them from healing physically, because that can happen too. Meaning that there is energy that
Right.
can be released that can help quicken the process of healing or allow it to begin with or to help the recovery be easier, things like that. It can definitely help, but it's not like that's not going to be your end all kind of thing for those any physical intervention.
Right. For sure. That makes so
Yeah.
much sense. For pregnant and postpartum mothers, carrying big feelings that don't go away, how do you help them feel supported without making it feel like another thing that they need to fix?
So I really I'm really not there to tell anyone what to fix or that there is something that needs to be fixed. I really focus on support and what are you coming for to me? Meaning like you reached out and I want to hear why. And I want to be there for you in whatever way you are asking me to be there for you. Some people, if you tell me that there's something that you want like fixed, if it's something that's more like physical or anything that like they want that kind of more like directional, clear, clear cut kind of session, then for sure. I'm happy to do that. But I'm there for the support. I'm there to help them release whatever they do want to release, and not release whatever they don't want to release, to listen to what they're holding and where they want to be and just try to help them bridge that gap. Really. Like I don't want it to be like another task or another thing to do. Like I know that that can be so overwhelming so I really try not to do that.
Yeah, for sure. When you work with moms or pregnant women, what does relief look like in those moments?
Love that question. So I don't see it physically, like in person, because most of my sessions I do over the phone, but I do, I, my postpartum moms that are coming to me, pregnant moms, anyone who's coming to me, they are letting me, I'll ask them or they'll let me know, like, what's going on for them in the moment, or I'll just ask them, like, how are you feeling? anything changed or anything like that. And they'll also like update me, which I love. I so appreciate whenever someone does update me. Like it's not like a requirement, but for this reason, I love to hear it because I'm not there in person usually. And I could just say like what moms have told me, that relief felt like sometimes even in the session, like feeling just calmer. Sometimes moms have told me that like they just feel like there's just like nothing on their shoulders anymore. Like, whoa, I can now like it's not all on me. That like huge relief of
Wow.
like it's not on my shoulders. Or sometimes it's like feeling the emotion that they've been wanting to feel for so long, whatever they're trying to process, and like there's tears coming to their eyes and they're like, wow, I've been so out of touch and I feel so in touch now. Sometimes it's it's really seeing like physical results that like they don't have this pain or this discomfort anymore, or they see that it got better from what it was before. Yeah. Sometimes people tell me they feel like it's like a detox. They just feel like they're clean, they just like emotionally that like they really don't have, and like they're not holding on to the tension. They don't feel like the emotions as much. They can look at it more as like a memory, and they can like talk about it without getting all worked up. Like those things are so relieving for moms.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Wow. That's incredible work. How do you keep it from becoming overwhelming for you
Uh,
and for the moms?
yeah. I make boundaries. I have to, as much as like I love, as much as I'm there for whoever's coming to me as much as possible. I want to be there for everyone as much as possible. I do make some sort of like policies or things like that, just so I know like there's a limit, and I can't push myself overboard. I have to take care of my own family and my own emotional health and not overwork myself. So, yeah, and it takes time, and it took time to be able to do this work without like letting it like bog me down, like not leaving a session like, whoa, that was like, I can't do anything now. This was so heavy. It's hard to not be in that state. And Baruch Hashem, I now have learned how to do that, but it definitely took time.
Yeah, I'm sure. Can you share a real life example that stays with you?
For sure. I would say one story, I guess, that sticks out to me is from a mom that came to me, and she said that her son, a toddler, loved swimming, always loved swimming. And all of a sudden, one day, like this was in the summer, going swimming every single day. All of a sudden, he just literally refused to go in the pool. And like for every day they tried, come on, like you love this, what's going on? He didn't want to say, he didn't say anything. Like he like denied that anything happened. I think maybe he was like, I don't know, like I think 4 years old or something, like very, very young, 4, 5, 6, something like that. And so this mom came to me and was just like, I don't know what to do. Like this is so strange. Like it seems like nothing, like he's not saying anything happened. And we actually found out that through doing emotion code and body code, that something did happen. And there was something that happened at the pool one day that really shook him up, and we released what was still sitting inside of his body from that situation. And he just, again, all of a sudden just started going back in the pool. And his mom was like, this brought me to tears. This is amazing. Like I don't know how that happened, and that was like, to me,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. And like to me, every time, I've been doing this for a long time, but still, every time a mom updates me, or anyone updates me, like, just letting me know like any improvement, I'm like, wow. Like it gives me chills every time. I and it's amazing.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Wow, that is incredible, like, to see such a clear
yeah,
reaction. Is
yeah.
there such a thing as enough with emotion code and body code? Like, for someone to do too much?
Not too much. There's definitely a time when we can have cleared everything that there is from from whatever you're coming to me, you're coming for. But it's not like there's too much to clear. You're clearing whatever there is inside of you. And and at a certain point, I might, if someone's coming to me for a specific reason, I might say, "Okay, it seems like there's really nothing else to clear for what you're coming to me for." And that's great.
I'm curious if there's anything that you are very conscious of when you're, like, onboarding new patients or new clients. Like, are you careful not to make any promises specifically or anything like that?
Yeah, I definitely make sure not to make any promises because it's what I what I always say is like it's very hard to know how the results will take place because yes, I'm clearing whatever we're finding in the session, but every person's body responds and reacts differently to energy being cleared. So there can be one person who will tell me in the middle of the session or at the end of the session, like, everything totally went away. I've like whatever thing I came to you for is like totally gone. And then some people are like doing this for a really long time. And then eventually they start seeing change slowly but surely. And like looking back in hindsight, they can be like, oh, wow, I do see a change, but it definitely was a slow process that like I'm only noticing now, and there's obviously a big range in between. So it's very hard to know how the body will respond and how long it'll take. So yeah, I definitely don't promise anything. I can say that it's definitely releasing things, but I can't say what it will look like for you.
Right. Wow, that's so important. Is there anything else that you wanna share about emotion code or body work that you wanna leave with a mom listening to this episode?
Yeah, I would say
It's okay if there isn't. That's why I said I could cut it out.
I would say the first thing that's coming to mind is first of all, you're incredible. Every single mom, every single pregnant mom, whether you have a child yet or not, you're still a mom. If you're carrying a baby, you're a mom. And it's so much work. The heart like to me, it boggles my mind every day. I'm like, whoa, like it's crazy. No one even thinks about this. Like day to day, I'm taking care of my baby and like this is normal. But it's like so not normal. It's crazy. It's so crazy. And like your heart is giving
Yeah.
so much, your body is working so hard internally and externally in every which way possible. So really whatever you're doing is enough and is incredible. um and in terms of like emotion code and body code, I would say really trust your gut. Trust your gut and listen to yourself. That's, I think, the biggest gift you could do for yourself is to really listen to what your body is telling you and respond to it in whatever way you can. Not always is it easy to respond to it fully. Like sometimes you're running around chasing after your kids and you know that you are really hungry, but you just can't take care of that right now. But like even just listening to yourself, like, yes, I know that I need to feed myself at some point and I'm not ignoring myself. I am going to do that at my next opportunity. Like just letting your mind and your heart and your body, whichever one is that you're like talking to right at that time or listening to right at that time, letting them know that you're there and you're not ignoring yourself, it's actually really rewarding. And it really, for me at least, and I've seen with clients and moms who've come to me, it really changes their day. That like they can just listen to what their body is
Wow.
telling them and not just not like make it feel like they're just being ignored. Even if they can't give the solution right then, but just like listening, and it can really change your day from what I've seen.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that.
My pleasure.
We're all about trusting our intuition here. We're all about
Yes.
slowing down and paying attention to what you're feeling. That's it's the whole basis for in my mother aura, for evening tea, for everything in life, for me at least. So I resonate very much with trusting your intuition and what you were saying.
Yeah. And just to add one thing to that, I I would say that that is the key to processing, like, to processing what's going on. And with emotion code and body code, it's not like the only way to process. There's you can first of all, there's other modalities, but you can also, like, learn and discover how you can process things on your own throughout your day, and that is the key to doing that. If whoever is listening to this, if you're able to, like, zone into that and slowly, just bit by bit, try that out, it's life changing, really.
Wow. Yeah. Like just having the tools to learn how to ground yourself and learn how to reconnect can be so helpful.
Yeah.
As we close, I want to come back to something simple. Having big feelings doesn't mean something is wrong with you, and needing support doesn't mean that you failed. Um, like Fruma said, emotion code is not something that you need to believe in. It's not something that you need to try. It's just one of the many options that exist in learning how to take care of yourself and take care of your emotions, specifically for when things feel heavy and are not moving on their own. Um, if this conversation gave you language or permission or even just curiosity, that's enough. You don't need to do anything with that right now. I hope that you leave this conversation feeling a little bit more informed, a little bit less alone, and reminded that there are many, many ways to be supported. Thank you so much, Froma, for coming on and sharing how you got into emotion code and body code and sharing your experience. And thank you so much for sitting with us tonight.
Thank you for having me. This is really an honor.
Of course. Thank you for spending this time with me. If this conversation stayed with you, consider sharing it with another mom who might need it too. Until next time, trust your intuition, move gently, and take care of yourself. Good night, mamas.